Hello, engineers, and welcome back to the DevSecOps series. So, till now, we have covered almost all of the basic concepts that we require to become a DevSecOps engineer. Now, from this point onwards, we are going to discuss about the different methodologies that are being adopted in the industry worldwide for DevSecOps related practices. So the very first thing that we will be looking at is the threat modeling. What is it? How is it done? And what are the different key principles or what are the different frameworks that are adopted? What are the different tools that are used to do this particular kind of thing? So in this video, we will be learning about what is threat modeling and how to do it. What tools we can use, what methods or frameworks we have for this particular reason. So before moving to our today's discussion, I just wanted to show you that we have now grown up to a lot of different videos, and you can see over here that the playlist that we have has grown up to about six or seven, eight videos right now, which covers the basic fundamentals, the principle, and introduction to the DevSecOps. And then we have this particular, the very most important video that I have marked it as over here, which deals about the CVE, CWE, CVSS, and EPSS. What are these things, and why are they really important for your journey ahead as a DevSecOps engineer? So make sure you kind of watch this particular video and the rest of the above videos before beginning to learn about threat modeling. And this is a video where we cover some basic questions which are related to the interview scenarios if you get these kind of questions regarding CVE, CWN, CVSS, and EPSS. So yeah, that's one thing. And the another one is about the PPT that you can find it over here in my GitHub channel. You can search for the threat modeling, which is the latest one. You can click it and download it as well. Can get the rest of the others that we have, and you can also, you know, go to the video that you want from here. If you click this one, you will redirect it to the particular video. So yeah, and this is what we have for interview section. So you can look into it, and it could be helpful for you whenever you are trying to prepare for your interviews. So now let's begin with our today's discussion about the threat modeling. So here are the topics that we are going to discuss today. So first of all, what is threat model? Then what is threat modeling? Okay, we will have a basic introduction to this particular thing. Then we'll know about what are the different key components involved in threat modeling. What do we look after in this particular thing? Okay, which is called as threat modeling. Then the four question framework. Basically threat modeling is asking yourself few questions before you kind of think in terms of the security perspective. So that is the reason it is called as the four question framework. And you can easily get to know this thing, and you can do it for your own self right now, even if you are not in an organization. Okay, you can do it for yourself. So we will look into it, and then there would be the types of threats that are available over there. Again, this would be covered in the part one of our today's video, because this is a long list and we have very short time to cover it. So we will divide this particular video into two parts, and in the second part we will be learning about these methods and frameworks which are used in threat modeling, which are helpful for us. You can adopt to any of these or multiple of these in your organization as you will learn, okay, later on, why to use this one or when to use this one. Okay, who should use this, who should not use these, you will get to know. And then we'll learn about what are the different threat modeling tools available in the market, and I'll let you know what are the tools you can use for free, and you can get hands-on experience on those particular tools later on in our videos itself. So let's begin with the first part of threat modeling. So first of all, what is a threat model? So threat model is basically we do a structured representation of all the information that affects the security of an application. So What should it include? Okay, the security. Okay, we want to secure something. So what is that? Okay, let's say it's a software that we want to secure or an application. So what are the different things that are involved in it that we have to first list down, and then we can see how we can secure these things at various different places. So first of all, in this threat model, you should always mention what are your assets. Okay, do you have physical assets? Do you have softwares which are your assets? Do you have any infrastructure? Do you have a building, okay, of your IT organization, whatever it may be? Do you hand out mobile phones to your employees, okay, or you not hand out? Do you have a data server in your office? Okay, these are the different assets you need to map out. Once you map out these assets, you then need to know what are the different vulnerabilities that are present in these particular assets. Okay, assets could be anything, any cloud infrastructure, on-prem infrastructure, okay, in our application, your software tech stack. This could be your assets. Then these assets should be having or could be having different kind of vulnerabilities that you right now are not aware about, but then you need to discover about it. And how would you discover? You would be discovering it by using different tools and integrating them into your different phases of the SDLC. So you need to know these vulnerabilities that are there present in your assets. Then you will need to assess what is the potential risk that I have if someone from the outside, which is called as an adversary. Okay, so bear this thing in mind. We have covered these particular terms in our this security fundamentals video. So if you kind of get confused between these particular keywords, you can go and watch this particular video which is linked over here, and you can see what is the meaning of this particular words. Okay, the adversary, risk, what is vulnerability. So now, if there is an external attacker or a threat, how can he use these vulnerabilities and can exploit my assets? Okay, basically how he can take benefit of my things by attacking in what different ways. So that is the basic stuff we have to know. So that is why we need to always list these things down first, and then we have to move ahead in further thinking and brainstorming how we can secure them. Okay, so that's the first thing. Hope you got the point. So threat model is what? Representation of all the information that we have. Okay, the assets, the vulnerabilities in it, okay, the risk associated with them, and who can attack me. Okay, it would differ from industry to industry, place to place, and country to country. Okay, and individual to individual as well. We will see it in our exercise, an upcoming exercise that we will be doing. So please watch till then. So next one is introduction to threat modeling. Okay, now we have seen threat model. Okay, model, it means we have to list down all the things that we have. Then we have to do something. Okay, we have to take some action upon it. So what to do about it? It is covered in the threat modeling stuff, and it is a process. Now what is threat modeling? So it is a process for capturing. Okay, first we captured it and we listed it down, then organizing them in certain categories, and then analyzing those things that we have just collected. Okay, analyzing all the information regarding assets, vulnerabilities, and risks, and the adversaries. Okay, so we have to first capture, organize, and analyze, and then we can make informed decision about the application security risk. Now, once I know what things I have, what assets do I have, then I can think about what are the different threats that could be possible, who can attack it. Okay, and then I can think of if I can add some security measures to prevent this kind of attack. Okay, let's say if you have a home or a house, let's say for example, and basically and also sorry, you have planted some trees or plants in front of your like porch or whatever the space you have around your home. Now, there is a threat that some animal, either it be like boar, or it could be a cow, or it could be goats, they could come into the premises and they could eat the leaves of the plants, or they could entirely eat the plant itself. and it would be like nothing afterwards. So you know that there is a threat available to your asset. What is the asset? The plants are the assets. What is the threat? The animals that are lingering around finding for food. Those are the threat for you right now in this particular scenario. And then what things you can do for minimizing this risk or prevention measures, let's say. So what you will do, you will add a layer of fence between this, the outer world and the plants that you have, or you will kind of like cover them with some bricks or some steel cages, right? That is what you would do as a preventive measure. So you know the threat, you know your assets. Now you have added kind of a security layer protected from the animals. But now let's say there is another threat, which is sunlight. Okay, extreme sun, extreme weather, storm could be there. Now how would you secure your your plants from them? You will add some another measures, right? You will add another layer of security. Let's say you would like prick a stick to make this plant stay straight in the case of storms. Okay, or you will cover it in case of there is an excessive heat, or you will water that plant. So these are the different measures that you would take, okay, to secure your things. So this is how we have to think about threat modeling. Okay, what are my assets? What are the different threats? And how I can add, okay, what are the different risks associated with it, and how I can add different preventive measures to secure it, okay, to keep it safe, to keep it from being harmed by the external um, people or external world. Okay, great. Then now, does threat modeling provides us? It also helps us in creating a prioritized list, okay, of security improvements to the concepts, requirements, design, and implementation. Now, see, we have also prioritized something. Okay, we know like if the weather is good, if it is not too harsh or not too cold. So we know what is the priority first. We have to deal with the animals that are there. Okay, we have to deal with them first, and then only we will think about the other thing. So that's why the prioritization of this particular design or the implementation of security layers should be done, okay, based on the different kind of threats that are available in the market. So the same case goes with the applications that we are developing. We need to see what kind of application we are using or we are developing, what kind of infrastructure we are using, what are the different assets that we have, and then what are the different kind of threats my application or my assets could be, like having, and then we can add some security layers to it depending on what we use. Okay, cool. I hope you got the point. Let's move to the another slide now. So here is the exercise that I was talking about. Now we will discuss about two different scenarios wherein we have to first like drill down about what are the different assets that we have. Okay, what are the different threats we can see, and can we devise a plan to prevent damage to our assets? Okay, so you have to think it through. So let's talk about the first scenario. You can see it is a bank. Okay, so what are the different assets in bank? That is what we need to think. Okay, we have the money, which is the first and most important priority list, that or the thing that we have to secure in the bank. Okay, then there are people, innocent people or day-to-day employees that we have. Then we have some customers also in the bank, okay, that we need to secure from any kind of threats that we can see right now. So these are the different things. Okay, we have computational, I mean IT infrastructure. We have some machines. We would have some lockers. We would have some more documentations. We would have data about the customers. These are the different things that we have as an asset in this particular bank. Now, what are my threats? Okay, my threat currently right now I can see are these three robbers. Okay, who are waiting outside the bank to get into the bank and steal the money, or they could also be trying to steal the data or erase the data, and they can do anything. So, what are the different plans or things that I can do to secure this thing? So just pause for a few moments and think, what are the different things I can do. Okay, let's get back again. I hope you have brainstormed through few of the things that you can do to prevent such kind of attacks. Okay, so what you would do generally is, let's say you would implant a big locker that no one could, break. First of all, to prevent the most important thing that you have in your bank, it's cash. Then second is a layer between the employees. You could, like build a layer of bulletproof or like brick-proof classes in front of the employees that are, custodians of this particular data or the IT infrastructure or the cash behind them. Okay, then you would have some security guards placed in the front door. Okay, you would have some cameras, you would have some switches which would, once pressed, could give an SOS out to the police team, and then they would come in, and then they would come to rescue you guys, and then kill these robbers or arrest them at least. So these are the things you can place in like the infrastructure and the assets that you have to, secure your own organization or the bank in this particular scenario. Okay, let's talk about the another scenario that we have. You have over here few of the terrorist looking guys who have some pretty big guns, and they are kind of planning to attack on your city or your country, let's say. So what are the things you can do over here? Okay, what is your asset in this case? In this case, your asset is the civilian population. Okay, the children, the men, the women, okay, the old people. These are the primary assets that you have to secure right now. What are the threats? Okay, there would be group of people, group of like terrorists that is out there. Okay, and they are kind of planning to attack this particular city or this particular region of your country. And now you have to think about how I can, make some plan or devise certain things, kind of security layer which could prevent my damage to the assets that I have currently. Now see, what is the difference between the assets? Here in this particular scenario, you have a different asset. In this case, in this scenario, you had a different asset. So these are correlative terminologies. You need to think through, and now pause for a moment and see what things you could apply for your country to get safe or secure from this kind of threat actors. So what you will do, you will secure your borders, you will make your internal intelligent agencies, and then you will have them, on watch for a long time, and then you will do a lot of different things. You will deploy an army, you will deploy police force. Okay, you will deploy your agents, raw agents, or any secret agents, so to say. And then you will have surveillance cameras installed. You will have certain different methodologies again used, and again you will also think in terms of what activities are to be taken, or what preventive measures to be taken before the attack happens. And in case if there is any attack that happens, what are the countermeasures to it? Okay, what is the response plan for that? So these are the different things that you have to identify and see in the threat modeling. Hope you learned something from this exercise, a real life example that we can see all around our place. Now let's move to the key components of this particular threat modeling stuff. So as I mentioned, threat modeling is a structured approach used to identify, assess, and address potential security threats, okay, and vulnerabilities within a system, application, or a network. So in terms of our IT industry, we have to do it for the systems, applications, and the network that we have, okay, or whatever the software we are building, whatever the IT assets do we have. Now it helps organization understand the security risk associated with their systems and how to mitigate them effectively. Once we get to know these are kind of risk I have currently in my assets, then I can devise plan to mitigate them or to safeguard them against these particular attacks. So I hope you got this point very clearly. This is really important to learn about the next steps of the threat modeling. So now let's look into what are the different components or steps involved in the threat modeling. So the very first component or the step that we have to take is to identify the assets. So as I am mentioning from the beginning, that we need to identify what we have so that we could device plans to protect them. Okay, so determining what assets do we have and need protection uh, is the really key thing, the very first step that we have to do. Okay, discovery of the assets of your organization or of your software or your infrastructure or your services that you provide. Then this could include data, software, hardware, and network infrastructure. So it is specifically in terms of the IT infrastructure that we have. Okay, as we are dealing with the things and the security related to softwares and applications and infrastructure and cloud and all these things, we have to first identify what assets do we have. Now next is create an architecture overview. Now once we have drilled down into the details of what things we have, we need to, you know kind of place them in an order of workflow, or let's say a data diagram flow. So let's see what that particular thing is. So we have to develop a high level diagram of the system architecture. Okay, how it is placed together. Okay, how the entire things work together. That is what we need to first basically know about it. Then include data flow diagrams that show how data moves through the system. So from the UI up to the database, and then from the database up to the end user, how does this particular data flows in our application? That is what we have to think first. Okay, in terms of only software applications. Otherwise you can also see what are the things that are present. Is there any laptop? Is there any platform that we are using? Is there any middleware that we are using? So these are the different things we need to like list down in an architectural diagram. Now once we have all these things, now we have identified our assets and we have outlined our architecture. And what to do? The next step is to break down the application. I mean, not literally break it down like breaking news, nothing like that. We have to decompose the application. That is the next step that we have to take, which is to break down the system into smaller components to understand how they interact. Okay, this is to learn how one thing is connected to another thing. Otherwise, you if you don't have the idea of how one thing is connecting to another thing, or how the data is moving between the two components, then it is really difficult for you to look into potential vulnerabilities. Okay, so smaller components to understand how they interact and where potential vulnerabilities might exist. So that is why you need to see where weak points could exist in the entire architecture that you have. Next is identify threats. Okay, so use threat modeling frameworks like Stride to identify potential threats into or to the system. Okay, so we will learn about Stride and what is this particular methodology. That is what we will learn in the next video. So identify threats. That's the fourth step that we have to take, and then we have to determine and rank the threats. Okay, now we have to prioritize the threat. Okay, assess the identified threats based on the potential impact and likelihood. So likelihood, it means how easily could someone attack and how frequently I would get attacked. That is the likelihood of this particular threat to be exploited, or the vulnerability to be exploited, so to say. And then based on the impact, okay, how much it would impact. If the burglars could get into the bank, they would potentially take away the money that I have got from my customers. So that could be the impact, and it would be a major financial loss for them. So that is what we have to see. What are the potential impacts? Then, why to do it? This would help us prioritize which threats need immediate attention. Okay, the very major thing that I told you, to secure the cash, first thing is what we'll make sure we have a locker, big locker. Okay, which would take enough time till the police reaches up to the crime scenes. So we have to prioritize the threats according to the assets. Okay, and how vulnerable they are or how critical they are for us. So that's the very most important thing that we can say. Okay, classify and structure threats. That is our fifth particular point in this. Now next is to mitigate the threats. Okay, so we cannot 100% say that we have mitigated the threats, but we can develop strategies to mitigate the identified threats. Okay, this could involve implementing security controls, as I am mentioning from the past few videos, that whatever we are doing in DevSecOps engineering is implementing some security controls to minimize the potential threats or the potential vulnerabilities and attack surface for the adversaries. Okay, that is the major thing that we have to do. Then redesign the parts of the system and apply patches. Okay, this could be the different things that you can do to, like, once you have found out vulnerabilities, you can see that if there is an updated version of something, then you can update your infrastructure and then apply some patches to it. So these are the different things that you would do to mitigate these threats. And then next is what we will validate and reiterate this particular thing. Okay, you have to constantly, check for what are the different vulnerabilities that are arising, what is the asset that I'm procuring, you know and validate the threat model against the evolving system, okay, and threat landscape. Now, as you are updating the model and these systems that you have, you will need to also update the threat model, okay, to address new threats that are changing as per the system is changing. Then, as I mentioned earlier, threat modeling should be a continuous process, okay, an ongoing process, and that should be revised regularly. Okay, once you see a lapse in your threat modeling perspective, you would see an attacker would, easily come into the picture and then exploit your vulnerabilities. So when there are significant changes to the system or when new threats emerge, okay, that is what you know. It's not like if there is no change in my system, I would not update my threat model. No, no, no. You have to update your threat model according to the threats that are upcoming in the market. Let's say there was a AK-47 gun that was there previously. Okay, you would have to take very few things to, protect yourself against it. Now you have a hell lot of missiles. Okay, now how are you going to protect against it? So as the threats are updating, you would also have to update your threat models. Now it helps organizations proactively manage security risks and improve their overall security posture. Okay, security posture is what we will learn in some another video as well, but for now you can search for this keyword, what does it mean and what is its significance. So next is the four question framework. As I mentioned earlier, threat modeling can be addressed by asking yourself these particular four questions. So following questions help you organize threat modeling. Okay. So first you have to ask, what are we working on? Okay, what things do we have is the first thing, and then what things are we working upon? That is first you have to see. Are we working upon the cache of the people, or are we working upon the humans that we have? Okay, are we working upon a database, a particular kind of data? Let's say it's a photo or video of some people. That is what we need to win. Okay, what are we working on? Then what can go wrong in this particular things? Okay, someone can steal my cache, someone could steal my assets, okay, someone could copy my video, okay, or misinterpret it or use it in a certain way that I don't want. So these things you need to like know first, what things could go wrong with your things, okay, what your assets there are. Then what are we going to do about it? Okay, so let's say, this thing could go wrong, okay, while I'm like uh, in a flight or in an aeroplane, it could like the fuel could be like finished, and then it could go down. So we know this thing could be possible. So what are we doing about it? We are constantly checking if the fuel tank is full. uh, okay, and then these things we need to first know, like what are we going to do about it? Okay, if some threat is discovered or some vulnerabilities are discovered, or if there are the assets that we have discovered. Next, did we do a good job? Okay, did we do a good job in implementing some security controls or some controls that would help me secure my application? Okay, did we do it? Or if there is no security tool chain integrated in my pipelines, okay, is it good? So it is not good if you do not have any security integration done for your applications or software as such. That's the reason you need to ask these particular four questions, and then you can be sure that okay, now I am kind of following a good threat modeling practice. Now we will look into what are the different kind of threats that are possible. So threats can be classified into four different categories. Okay, what are those? First is a direct threat, next is an indirect threat, next is a wild threat, and the fourth one is conditional threat. I'm not sure if I pronounced it wrong or right, but search for what is the pronunciation of this thing. Veiled. Veiled, I guess it is. V-A-I. Veiled. Okay. So, what is called as a direct threat? Now, a direct threat could be a specific target. Okay. Like it would target directly to you. Okay. That is the first and major thing that you can see. Like, let's say, in case of terrorist, it would be a direct threat, okay, to the humans that we have in our regions. Okay, so and it is delivered in a straightforward, clear and explicit manner. Okay, so they have clear intentions to harm the people. Okay, they have a straightforward forward way to kill the people. That is what a direct threat. Okay, in terms of bank, they have a specific target. They have the money. Okay, they have the target outlined. They have a way to breach into the bank. Okay, and then they have to reach up to the locker, and then they would get it what they want. In case of kidnapping, okay, that could be happen as well. Next is an indirect threat. Okay, what is indirect threat? It tends to be vague, unclear and ambiguous. The plan, the intended victim, the motivation, and other aspects of the threat are masked or equivocal. So, in case of kidnapping or a murder, you can see it could be a direct threat. Okay, but in case of a natural calamity, if a building is like, uh, like if a building falls down, okay, and whatever the people are there, was it a direct threat to them? No, it wasn't intentionally meant for them, but they somehow happened to be present in this particular moment when this building fall down. Okay, then it could be an indirect threat. So that is one thing. Okay, it is not intentional, but it is there. The damage would be occurring, but it was not specifically for that particular reason. So that is an indirect threat. Then veiled threat, it strongly implies but does not specifically threaten violence. Okay, so veiled threat is kind of something, let's say, uh, you know, like a dog, let's say, it is barking on you, but sometimes it could be dangerous if he is coming to attack you, but sometimes they only bark and let go of the people. So that's called a veiled threat, okay, which is not explicitly expressed or done. Okay, and of course, yeah, someone could ask you, oh, hey, give me money or I would kill you, like that thing. Okay, that is one thing that we would see in conditional threat. Okay, let's say a threat often seen in extortion cases is that, okay, it warns that a violent act will happen unless a certain demand or terms are met. Sorry. Okay, let's say someone kidnapped your child or somebody's child, not your. I would not ask for that. But someone kidnapped a child of some parent, and then they ask for money, or otherwise they would do any kind of harm to that particular children or child. So that is a conditional threat. If you do not do this, I would do this damage to you. That is one conditional threat. So I hope you got to know the details about these particular things. uh, Okay, yeah. So here we will stop this particular episode, and we will look into the different methodologies and the frameworks that are available in threat modeling in the next video in the backdrop of time. So let's see you in another video, and until then, you can subscribe the channel, like it, share it with your friends, and post it on your social media or wherever you would like to do. So I guess that's it for this video. Let's see you in the next one.